Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the AskJasonGelios Show. I'm Jason Gelios, Michigan Realtor. For those of you new to the show, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to be covering 9 hidden costs, yes, hidden costs of buying a home. Now, these don't have to be hidden, right? Matter of fact, as you're watching this episode, you're going to learn these hidden costs of buying a home. But really, these should be explained to you if you're working with a real estate agent. You should know about these, but if not, that's okay because you're watching the right episode here. So let's go ahead and dive into this, okay? So mortgage interest is the first one. This cost is highly variable depending on your income, debt, credit score, down payment, and even the length of your mortgage that you choose. But expect to pay an annual interest of anywhere between 3 to 5%. That's the typical formula, okay, for mortgage interest. Another cost are closing costs. There's always closing costs. Whether you're the buyer or the home seller, you're going to have closing costs. So when you're buying a home, some of the closing costs include appraisal fees, attorney fees if you have an attorney involved, property transfer taxes, inspection fees. Maybe you have to have a pest inspection on the home. All right, these things will arise no matter what home you're buying. Closing costs vary depending on the state, but I would say they're about 2.5%, maybe 3% of the actual home's cost, right? So 2.5 to 3% of the purchase price of the home you're buying can be tied to closing costs. Another one is maintenance. So there's maintenance when you buy a home and you close and you get occupancy of the home. You have cleaning fees, you have yard care, gutter cleaning, or maybe even replacement if they're in bad shape. Matter of fact, U.S. households on average pay about $3,400 a year to outsource maintenance costs. Pretty interesting, okay? And that's according to the National Association of Realtors. Another one is home insurance. So homeowners insurance. Many times home buyers don't calculate this because they're not aware that they have to have homeowners insurance before you close. Matter of fact, when you have what's called a clear to close, meaning you're able to close on the home on a specific date and time, you then get insurance lined up, or you should have already gotten a rough estimate, but you get homeowners insurance lined up for the date that you close going forward. So the cost can vary. Again, it depends on where you live. People living in areas that are more prone to natural disasters will pay more, obviously, or higher crime rate. But I've seen the national average, I've seen that actually. Let me go back. The national average is about $1,000 a year. That sounds about right. I've seen them, about $1,500 to $2,000 a year in my area of Southeast Michigan. So another one is utilities. So factor in, let's say, an extra $3,000 annually to cover utility costs like electricity, gas, water. Okay, $3,000 may even be low, but that's about what the average is for utilities on a home. And I got 2 more here for you. Property tax. Now, I want to say something here. When a listing agent who represents a seller puts a home on the market, they will ask the homeowner, hey, listen, what are you paying in taxes? And if they say, for example, $3,000 a year total, right? Summer or winter. Okay, so that's what the listing agent puts in the MLS. That is not what a home buyer will pay. A home buyer will pay the adjusted rate for the new home buyer coming in. So it's going to go up a little bit because it's based on the new tax rate because a new owner is coming in on a home. So it's not going to be like if you see a tax amount that on the MLS ticket that says it's going to be $3,000 a year. It's going to be more, and so you can make as a home buyer, you can make, or your agent can make a simple phone call to the township or city or municipality that the home is in and say, hey, can you tell me roughly, and it's going to be rough, but can you tell me roughly how much the new tax rate would be on this home, and they will tell you, but it will be based on a rough estimate because they check taxes and assessments. They do that every year, okay? Now, renovations, that's the last one. Renovations, actually this isn't the last one, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place with my list here. But renovations, it varies person to person, year after year, okay? But plan on setting aside some extra cash for various renovations and updates. There's going to be things in the home that need to be fixed, probably even within the first year as you become the new owner and you're living in the home, you recognize that, oh, you know what? We need to get a tune-up on the furnace, or we need to get a new water heater. Or you know what? We had our home inspection and they recommended within the first year to take care of whatever, ABC, okay? So, something like that. And now I got two more for you, okay? Homeowners Association fee. Now you should be aware of this. However, the reason why it's on my hidden cost list is because you typically don't find out about this until you are actually getting ready to close on the home. If you're working with a realtor, they will know this as they're showing the home. It says on the MLS ticket, yes, there's an association fee. Either it's annually or it's monthly, whatever that is, they should be able to share that with you, okay? So if you're planning on living in a condo, for example, a lot of condos have what's called HOA fees, right? Homeowners Association fees. They are almost always required to cover the cost of the outside, maintaining the buildings, if there's lobbies or patios or exterior wood trim, the roof, for example, that's another thing that is covered. So those fees vary. I mean, you can spend hundreds a month or hundreds a year. I mean, it just varies depending on if there's also a special assessment in place where they're working on something like paving the roads, let's say. And the last one is private mortgage insurance. Many times home buyers don't think about this because they're not told about it until they get pre-approved. This cost only applies if you don't have a 20% down payment. No 20% down payment, you pay mortgage insurance typically. Unless you do a VA loan, which that's only for pretty much veterans, armed forces. But private mortgage insurance can cost between 0.3 and 1.50% of your mortgage, depending on the size of your down payment and your credit score. So private mortgage insurance, that's actually the last one here, that's a hidden cost of buying a home. Did I forget something? Go ahead and share your thoughts in the comments. Otherwise, I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, and share this episode with everyone that you know may find this valuable. Other homeowners, okay? Or home buyers in the process. Otherwise, I'm Jason Gelios, Michigan Realtor, and thank you for watching.